specification in that he, Private Temke, did quarrel with Private John Lyons on the porch of his company quarters and did, after being confined in the postguard house, strike Private Lyons with his fist. This at Fort Mackinac, Michigan, on the 31st day of July, 1889. The charges, Captain.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Private Temke. Insulting a fellow soldier and then insulting a ranking officer over you. And then striking another soldier. Written up quite the list of charges for yourself, Private Temke. How do you plead to all of them?
Not guilty to the first charge for specification, sir. Guilty to the second charge.
Very well. You may be seated, Private Temke. Lieutenant Pratt, you may proceed.
Thank you, sir. At this time, the United States prosecution would like to call its first witness, Sergeant Schaub. Sergeant Schaub, could you please raise your right hand to be sworn in?
Yes, sir.
Do you swear that the testimony you will give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, sir.
Is it true that you were acting as Sergeant of the Guard on the day in question?
That is true, Lieutenant.
Very well, Sergeant. Please relate the events as you saw them on the day in question.
Thank you, Lieutenant. I will do so. Well, sirs, I was the arresting sergeant on the day in question, and I'll begin things by stating that Private Rudolph Temke is a very troubled man, sirs. And I believe that his relationship with the other soldiers is not something to brag about, sirs. I don't think he gets along with them very well. It seems that all the other soldiers used to laugh and call him names. Now, on the day in question, I was going about my rounds, and I heard some commotion inside of the barracks, sirs. And, well, I walked to the other end of the barracks, and there was Private Temke quarreling with Private John Lyons. Sirs, they were pushing and shoving each other. And they were arguing about various things. I couldn't understand exactly what they were arguing about, but the fact that they were in the middle of a fight caused me to intervene, sirs. And I went up and I said, "What's going on here?" And, well, they all started shouting at the same time. I didn't quite understand what they were fighting about. But I heard him call musician Mackinac, who was also in the room, a fool, sirs. Which is a very appalling statement to call a fellow soldier, sirs. And when I asked Private Temke what was going on, sir, he looked me in the eye and he called me a fool. And, sirs, I nearly went white with offense, sirs. I was greatly offended by that remark. So I grabbed him by the scruff and I said, "I'm taking you to the guardhouse." And he kept saying, "I demand to see the commanding officer." Apparently he wanted to straighten things out with that. But Captain Goodale was very busy, and I told him the commanding officer could not be seen today. And then he called me a fool again, sirs. Again, I was very appalled. So Lieutenant over here came up and helped me out, and we arrested both Private Lyons and Private Temke, and we brought them to the guard cell, sirs. And they were not in there 5 minutes when I heard some ruckus in there, and I ran back, and, well, Private Lyons was on the ground, and there was blood everywhere. And there was Private Temke clenching his fist above him, kicking him, sirs. We had to put them in separate corners of the guardhouse and put them on a stricter watch, sirs. The man has a very short fuse, and I believe he's a danger to the Army and all the soldiers that he lives with, sirs. And that's about all there is to it.
Very good, Sergeant. Stand for a moment. Private Temke, you now have the option to question the Sergeant. Do you have any questions?
I have no questions, sir.
Very good. Sergeant, you may be seated.
Captain?
Lieutenant Pratt, does the prosecution have anything further?
Yes, sir. The prosecution would now like to call the soldier that Private Temke struck, Private Lyons. Private Lyons, could you please step over here to be sworn in? Yes, sir. Raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you are going to give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do, sir.
Likely chance of that.
Private, please be quiet. Very well, Private Lyons. Please continue with the day's events from your end of the spectrum.
Yes, sir. You see, me and the musician Manaski are very good buddies, so we were in our quarters and we were discussing the previous night, sir. See, Helga Temke, Private Temke's sister, had gone out with us on the previous night, and we were discussing our night, and we had such a good time. And well, Rudolph, he wasn't too happy about that because we didn't invite him to go with us. So we started arguing, getting all upset because his sister asked me out on another date, sirs, and he started getting very upset, and then the musician said something, and he called the musician a fool. And that's when the sergeant came to break it up, because me and Rudolph almost got into a fight, and then he demanded to see the post commander, and we all know, all the privates know that he's a busy man, and you don't want to ask to see him. But Rudolph doesn't care, he just wants whatever's going to be best for him. And the sergeant denied that request, and then he called him a fool. I don't know why he would ever call a sergeant a fool. Not a very good choice on his part. I'm pretty sure he's going to be guilty of that charge as well. But then as soon as we get into the guardhouse, sir, he starts yelling at me again, and I tried to walk away, and he hit me straight in my nose, sir. And the doctor said it was broke, sir. It hurt quite bad, and it was bleeding for hours after. And that's all I have today.
Very well, Private Lyons. Private Temke.